If it feels like everything around you costs more than it should, rent, food, subscriptions, even basic services, but every explanation you hear sounds incomplete, that's not an illusion. It's not just inflation. And it's not just supply and demand, the way it used to be explained. Something fundamental has changed in how prices are created, adjusted, and justified. And the reason it feels so confusing is because pricing itself is no longer a transparent reflection of cost. It's become a system. A system that adapts in real time. And most people are still trying to understand it using rules that no longer fully apply. To understand what's happening, we had to start with the old world. For most of modern economic history, prices were relatively simple. A product cost something to make, a company added a margin, and you paid a number. It wasn't perfect, but it was legible. You could roughly reverse engineer the logic. If something became more expensive, there was usually a visible reason. Materials cost more, labor cost more, transport cost more. Even inflation, as frustrating as it was, had a kind of clarity. It moved like a tide. Everything rose together. But something changed. Not all at once, but gradually, almost invisibly. And now we're in a system where prices don't just rise. They mutate. Let's start with something simple, your monthly subscriptions. Netflix, Spotify, cloud storage, software, delivery apps. Most people still think in terms of, this costs $9.99 a month. But that number is increasingly fictional. Because what you actually pay is no longer a single price. It's a structure of pricing layers. Base subscription tier, limitations, ads or ad-free upgrades, device restrictions, add-on features, region-based pricing differences, and the key shift is this. The price is no longer the product. It's just the entry point into a pricing system. And once you're inside that system, the price can change without the product changing at all. Now extend this beyond subscriptions. Look at airlines. If you've flown recently, you've probably noticed something strange. You don't really buy a ticket anymore. You assemble it. Seat selection is separate. Baggage is separate. Priority boarding is separate. Even basic carry-on rules vary depending on how the algorithm priced your ticket. Two people sitting next to each other on the same flight can pay dramatically different totals for what looks like the same experience. And here's the key insight. The airline is no longer selling you transportation. It is selling you fragments of transportation that are dynamically priced based on demand prediction models. Now zoom out further. What's actually happening here is something more structural. We are moving from fixed pricing systems to adaptive pricing systems. And adaptive pricing has one defining feature. It does not need to justify itself to you in real time. It only needs to optimize revenue. This is where things start to feel unstable for consumers. Because your brain is still trying to find consistency. You expect, if this cost $10 last month, it should cost around $10 this month. But the system is not optimized for consistency. It is optimized for extraction efficiency. And extraction efficiency changes constantly based on demand curves, behavioral patterns, willingness to pay models, competitor monitoring, algorithmic experimentation, which means price is no longer a reflection of value. It is a prediction of what you will tolerate. Now let's talk about something most people don't notice directly, but feel constantly: hidden fee expansion. A decade ago, pricing looked like this. $10 product equals $10 paid. Now it looks like this. $10 product, service fee, processing fee, convenience fee, platform fee, dynamic surcharge. Nothing about the product changed. But the price became modular. And modular pricing has one key advantage for companies. It hides increases without changing the headline price. So psychologically, you still anchor to $10. But economically, you pay $14 to $18. and your brain processes it as confusion rather than inflation. This is one of the most important psychological shifts in modern pricing. Inflation used to be visible. Now it is distributed. Instead of, everything is 10% more expensive, you get, everything feels slightly wrong and unpredictable. That feeling is not accidental. It is a byproduct of fragmented pricing systems. Now let's move into something even more important. Dynamic pricing. This is where pricing stops being static entirely. Airlines pioneered it. But now it's everywhere. Uber surge pricing, Amazon algorithmic price shifts, hotel booking platforms, concert tickets, even grocery delivery apps. The price you see is not the price. It is the price at the exact moment the algorithm believes you are most likely to accept it. That is a fundamentally different concept. Because it means two people are not seeing different deals. They're experiencing different realities. And this leads to a subtle but powerful psychological effect. People stop trusting price as information. When price loses informational reliability, consumers shift behavior in two ways. They stop trying to understand pricing, they start making faster, less rational purchase decisions. Both outcomes benefit the system. Because confusion reduces resistance. Now let's connect this to something broader. Why does everything feel more expensive all the time, even when inflation slows? Because your reference points are breaking. You are no longer anchored to stable prices. You are anchored to last purchase price, algorithmic fluctuation, promotional pricing cycle, subscription creep, so your memory of normal price becomes unstable. And without a stable baseline, every new price feels arbitrary. But there is a deeper structural reason behind all of this. And it is not conspiracy-based, it is incentive-based. Modern pricing systems evolved under three pressures. 1. Maximizing lifetime customer value. Companies no longer optimize for single transactions. They optimize for total lifetime extraction. That naturally leads to subscriptions, upsells, tiers, add-ons. 2. Data-driven pricing optimization. Companies now have access to real-time behavioral data. This means they can test pricing in real time, segment users by willingness to pay, adjust pricing dynamically without notice. 3. Competitive algorithmic matching. If one company raises prices subtly and retains users, others follow. Not because of coordination, but because of observed behavior. This creates convergence toward more complex pricing systems. Put those together and you get a system that is adaptive, opaque, fragmented, psychologically optimized, and extremely difficult for consumers to map mentally. Now let's step back. What does this actually mean for the average person? It means your financial reality is becoming less stable, not because costs are uniformly rising, but because pricing itself is becoming less interpretable. And when systems become less interpretable, they feel more expensive, even when actual inflation is moderate. Because what you are really reacting to is not just price level. It is price unpredictability. And unpredictability is more psychologically stressful than high cost. A stable $20 price feels better than a fluctuating $12 to $28 range, even if the average is lower. That is a key insight most discussions about inflation completely miss. Now let's talk about something almost no one explicitly says out loud. The death of the single price. We are entering a world where almost nothing has one price anymore. Instead, everything has base price, conditional price, behavioral price, timing dependent price, user specific price, which means pricing is no longer a property of the product. It is a property of the interaction. So when people say, everything is getting more expensive, what they often mean is, everything is becoming harder to predict and compare. And that loss of comparability is what creates the feeling of systemic inflation beyond official numbers. Now here's the final layer. Why does this system persist if it creates confusion? Because confusion is not a bug. It is structurally useful. A clear pricing environment favors consumers. A complex pricing environment favors optimization systems. And modern commerce is increasingly run by optimization systems. So where does this go? If current trends continue, we are moving toward fully personalized pricing environment, subscription-first consumption models, AI-driven price optimization in real time, increasing separation between advertised price and actual paid price, and in that world, price stops being a universal signal. It becomes individualized. Which brings us back to the original feeling. Why does everything feel more expensive, even when explanations don't fully satisfy you? Because you are not just reacting to inflation. You are reacting to the collapse of price transparency as a stable system. And your brain is still trying to interpret a world where prices used to mean something fixed. But that world is already gone. And once you see that, you start to notice something else. It's not that everything is simply more expensive. It's that everything is now priced in a way that makes expense harder to detect in real time. And that might be the most important shift of all. Because when expense becomes less visible, it becomes easier to accumulate without resistance. If you understood this system clearly, you would probably stop asking, "Why is everything so expensive?" and start asking something else entirely. What exactly am I being charged for? And when did that stop being obvious?